Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited, episode 47. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me, as usual, is...
TFG and Mike, hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going pretty damn good. So, yeah. I've been working on... Well, for one, I got my new profile picture from Neil.
Still waiting on mine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And it's truly Steve Megatron.
It's become Steve Megatron, Steve Barneytron, Steve Batatron, Steve G1 Megatron. It's become a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I've altered multiple copies of the image.
But you still are going to use the original.
Yeah, I'm going to use the original for the profile purposes and everything. I'm just making the other ones just for fun and to see, eventually I may swap them out. But it's more so I could see the color palette.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, thank you to Neil for that.
Yes.
Other than that, been getting stuff prepped for 4th of July.
Yeah, I wish I could get stuff prepped for 4th of July because I'd put in triple, quadruple pane windows with metal shutters on the front of them. Oh my god. I'm not good with outside noises, people. I'm just not.
Keep them out! Keep them out!
It's just... I'm not trying to be unpatriotic at all. I used to love fireworks displays as a kid, and I still kind of like them as an adult, just not right in my backyard when I'm sitting here trying to produce content for Geekcast Radio. There was an episode I recorded recently where I actually had to stop, call the police, and tell them about people setting up fireworks too close to this building. And they said, oh, yep, we know there's an officer already on the way out there. Because apparently somebody else called him before I did. How's the house coming along?
Surprisingly well. We've got the... we only got really 2 more rooms and then the garage to pretty much go through.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I've got to organize a bunch of crap that's sitting in my office and totes. And then I mailed out this week the prize packs for the Geekcast Radio episode 65.
Yep, 5-year contest.
Yep. I sent those out today, so mostly everybody got... they at least got... a DVD set or a Blu-ray set or both or one or the other or combination of those two, and then various comics or trades.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, mine are going to include mostly comics. I'm trying to include several. Each person will hopefully get one CD soundtrack from La La Land Records. I know one lucky winner is going to get a copy of Avengers Confidential, Punisher, Black Widow, or Black Widow versus Punisher, whatever that subtitle is of that DVD. And I'll be sending those out on Monday after the 4th of July. What else has been going on with me? I was just a guest on Masters of the Tooniverse podcast where we talked about Batman Beyond. And I think the last 20 minutes is me basically... You won't listen to the last 20 minutes of that show because you already know the history. It's basically just me telling, my history with podcasting and kind of a brief history of the network and all that kind of stuff. So that was awesome. Still doing pull bag prep. It's it's amazing now with I'm so far removed from DC at this point, honestly. Outside of the DCAU digital comic Batman Beyond, outside of Batgirl, and outside of Batman Eternal and Masters of the Universe, there are no DC books I'm really reading right now. Um, because of personal financial matters, dealing with my health, my mom's health, and all that. I mean, I'm fine physically, but just stuff is coming up that I've pretty much dropped all my print subscriptions for comics, and I've pretty much gone digital. Um, but getting the pullback going up, we just released Forever Evil. Forever Evil will be the last superhero story we have, last superhero based episode we have in a while, because we have Rocky and Bullwinkle. We have Masters of the Universe, He-Man Masters of the Universe issues 1 through 6 coming up. And then between the end of July, most of August is Transformers stuff. So that's going to be not necessarily a slightly new direction, but kind of a return, because we've done some Transformers stuff on the show before. I'm still planning with TV's Mr. Neil to do the Summer of the Golden Age of Animation on Tooncast Beyond for that. What else? What else? M-Wire has its 5-year anniversary coming up this coming Thursday, the 11th, July 11th, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've told you this before, and I don't know if I've told the listeners before. It's just so funny. You rolled your eyes at me, or, well, through the internet as much as you can roll your eyes at someone, and you just kind of said that's kind of lame. I originally based the very first episode of M-Wire airing, I think it was July 11th, 2009. That was the date of the next new iPhone release. Yes, I know, lame.
Boo.
But, so we've got that coming up. Other than that, I mean, I've just kind of been... I'm ahead in my work, but I'm also... It's funny. When working on podcasting, whether recording, editing, getting posts ready, or whatever, I find myself at times where I'm so far ahead that I have nothing to do in the interim, or I find myself so far ahead yet so far behind that I have so much to do, yet I just don't have the motivation to do it right now because of some of the stuff that's going on in my personal life. But I'm still getting it done. We're still, getting content out there. And all that good stuff. So that's pretty much what's going on with me.
Yeah, and I also entered for the King of the Nerds.
Yes, you did.
I doubt I'll hear back from that, but it was worth the try anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
Never know.
Yeah, you never know.
I'll be surprised.
You'd probably be the best looking nerd that they have on there as far as the guys go.
They probably wouldn't choose me, probably because of that. They'd be like, this guy's too classy. We can't have him.
This guy doesn't wear any glasses. This guy doesn't have nerd glasses. We can't even have him on here.
Well, the funny thing is when I recorded it, I actually recorded the damn thing like, I think 6 or 7 times because every time I did it, it came out to be like 7-8 minutes. Because they have all these suggestions of things that you should include in it, and of course one thing leads to another and a story develops. I had to cut and cut. So what I started doing is because I had to reinstall my webcam software because that was the only way I could actually capture it. I couldn't do it through the other programs for whatever reason. It wiped it. Maybe that, or I didn't reinstall it when I redid my tower, but I recorded in segments like we do the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was like a 5-10 second, at the beginning and end that between clips that I had to chop anyhow, but there's a bunch of jump cuts between different pieces. I made it 10 seconds under the 5-minute mark, which it was 3 to 5 minute was the limit.
Mm-hmm.
And I cut out a couple different stories, but I left in some that, because it says, talk about one, geek topic you're highly passionate about. And I said, how the new 52 Batman is severely screwed up. and I started explaining the timeline issue, which is something I've had conversation with at conventions.
Yep.
So that's something I could sit there and talk about, and it drives me nuts. So I did that, and the initial introduction, I was wearing my Batman mask,
Jeez.
and then the next one I was wearing the Steve hat, and
Mm-hmm.
it says the Steve on it, which is my old high school nickname. And then I changed the hat again for the next scene to a Batman hat, and then I changed the hat again to a Decepticon hat, and then I changed it again a couple more times. But I thought it was kind of funny to keep doing that every time. Um, and then I showed my Batman Beyond Return of the Joker and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it'll be cool if it happens. If it doesn't, it's no biggie either. But it was interesting.
Hope you get it.
Yeah, it'd be neat.
Yep.
So tons have been going on recently
Yeah.
in the geeky world.
Yep. Lindsay Lohan is suing Rockstar Games because apparently there's a
Apparently, she needs a paycheck.
yeah, there is that.
That bitch needs a paycheck.
Apparently there's a parody of her in the game. I think it's called Lacey Jonas.
Did she come out of rehab?
Who? Funny. The character in the game is called Lacey Jonas. It's, a skinny blonde type character kind of thing, and she basically references all kinds of, drunk and disorderly and parties and getting into trouble, and she's basically a Hollywood starlet kind of thing within the game. I don't know. I haven't played this part of the game. I haven't even played the game itself, but I've seen a video of it. Hopefully I can have you embedded in the post, but I gotta find it again. But it's one of those things where games parody characters all the time. Part of her claim, from what I remember looking at the article, it says that the character resembles her directly in image, voice, and likeness altogether, especially references to her personal life, etc., etc., etc. The voice doesn't even sound like her. There's no way in the suit's going to eventually be dropped or thrown out because it's a parody of a celebrity.
That bitch wants a paycheck. That's all there is to it.
I noticed this a little bit before we started recording tonight. Apparently, Andre 3000 of Outkast is going to be portraying Jimi Hendrix in a new film. It's not that I don't have a problem with it. I think it's interesting. I think from the images I've seen, he does look the part. It's just when I hear that name Andre 3000, I just don't think Jimi Hendrix look-alike. What else has been going on?
As far as news,
Yes.
everybody's making a big deal about that Batman's vs Superman first reveal of Superman in the Dark City. And
have you seen the other image that has popped up?
the one with Batman in front of him?
The one where Superman has his hands around Batman's waist.
That's what I meant. Yeah, I've seen that. I was like, wow.
Like, seriously?
It's actually funny because Batman's head's down like, no, get your hands off me. Quit manhandling me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have an opinion of it. I noticed that they changed a little bit of Superman's uniform, and then they changed his hair a little bit, like kind of slicked it back more.
Right.
But other than that, it's not a big deal. Like I really would rather see at least some kind of a teaser.
Yeah.
Rather than keep showing me. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I like the promotional images too, but show me something of substance that I haven't seen before. Like, I don't know, Wonder Woman or, just something.
Or Robin.
I hope to God they don't add him. We don't need him. He's a loser. I mean, come on.
Depends on which one you're talking about, but yes.
If he's a whiny little version of Bruce, then we don't want him.
You know, you know, honestly, I'm more excited about the other Batman news that I. I honestly think we just need to put a cap on the Bat Superman. I mean, we haven't really done it to death yet, but it's one of those things where every time I see a news story about it, I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, let's go look at people trashing Transformers 4, or let's go look at something other than this. But the other Batman news is much more exciting and interesting.
Which is?
Batman the TV series coming to DVD, Blu-ray, and digital this November. All 100 and something episodes of the Batman 60s television series starring Adam West and Burt Ward is finally coming to DVD.
I'm kind of intrigued to see if there's any cool special features that they add to it. I mean, and plus it's been, what, 50 years since they've had the rights to actually get this out there?
Something like that, yeah.
That's just insane that it's taken that long to get it out of whoever's rights had it before and actually have it work.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. I do know by the video promotion thing they showed, the little YouTube teaser ad thing, that it does say all new special features. It doesn't say, what the new special features are. It doesn't give a price yet. I'm sure it's going to be extremely expensive. 120 episodes, 3 seasons. They're probably going to do some sort of Batman 75th anniversary, Batman 66 casing for it, or some sort of special DVD casing. I'm betting the set will most definitely be either $100 or over $100 when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have the money to snatch it up right then, you're going to be SOL, because the aftermarket on eBay will ask for $400, $500, $600, $700 for it, because eventually what's going to probably happen is, and this is kind of sad that this does happen, but sets go out of print. And when they go out of print, people on eBay are like, hey, it's out of print. It's rare. It's this. It's that. And that, part of that is true, but they then ask astronomical amounts of money for this DVD set. But I'm very interested to see what special features are on there. I'm very interested to see the menus and what they do and how they present the whole ensemble. So that's I'm gonna be interested to see if they include the film with it, or if it's just gonna be the episodes.
I have a feeling it's only going to be the episodes. I don't think it'll be the movie, only because that's an extra selling opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you could buy the Transformers Generation 1 DVD set or complete set, and then, or even the Matrix set, and they leave open the spot for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of those type scenarios, I have a feeling. Plus it's WB. So they're going to want to make the extra cash. They try and do what Disney does with their films and sell it top dollar and separate.
Right. But yeah, no, I'm super stoked for that.
Yep, me too. So next up, I really don't want to talk about this, but it's something that's floating around. They keep talking about Robin showing up in the Batman vs Superman movie.
Let's just say no and move on.
I mean, and people keep coming up with different lists, and then there's one where Harry Potter wants to play Robin, and ones with various other people. But honestly, I'd rather, if it's going to be an older Batman, just have Nightwing.
Yeah,
I don't want to tag along little version of Robin floating around and in any incarnation. I'd rather just have Nightwing, and then that's it. It would be so much simpler that way if they're going to do it that way. Do we really need him? That's the other question.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think so with having Cyborg and Aquaman and Wonder Woman showing up in the same movie.
How long have we said this? Call it what it is. You know.
Justice League, which is why it's called Dawn of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like saying, okay, we're gonna have the prequel episode before we have the main episode. So basically, you're not gonna get much of what you expect out of this movie. It's gonna be crap. I
Yeah.
think it's in. Don't take this the wrong way, because part of this movie was good in its plot, but then part of it was crap. Iron Man 2 is going to be the equivalent of Batman vs Superman, only because, and like I said, Iron Man 2, the good part was the armor wars and that kind of stuff. The
Mm-hmm.
bad part was how they kind of, it seemed like it fell down whenever it focused on Shield.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's going to be the problem with Batman vs Superman, is it's going to fall on this crutch of trying to become Justice League rather than
Mm-hmm.
making a good movie.
Right.
Like, if they're going to do like World's Finest or something, then great, go for it. But
I would love it if
because
they did
it would honestly make more sense than having them play The Dark Knight Returns, or whatever,
Yeah.
and having Batman beat the hell out of Superman and fake his death and whatever. But it would make more sense because in World's Finest, they both were kind of on opposite ends doing their own agendas, and then they kind of butted heads in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and then had to put aside their differences and work together to defeat the Joker and Lex Luthor, which they're also kind of teasing that, oh, we might have the Joker in here, which it's like, why?
Are they really doing that?
I think it's too
I
soon.
haven't seen it.
I've seen it
anything,
floating around, like rumors of it, which who knows. I mean, it's too soon. I don't know why that they would even. And again, it's probably just internet speculation. People just bouncing around, going, "Hey, I think the Joker's gonna be in it," and then somebody's like, "The Joker's gonna be in it," and then it it kind of goes around, and becomes fact, even though it's not. It's like, do you believe everything you watch on TV? No. Well, you shouldn't on the internet either.
They this is why I'm so far removed from this movie at this point. At this point, I don't want to say ambivalent, but um, I just don't care. Like I have nothing about this other than the fact that I want to see Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and I like seeing Henry Cavill return as Superman. Other than that, nothing about this movie, whether it be news, whether it be rumors, whatever, nothing about this movie has me excited to see it. And it's like you said a few minutes ago, and it's like you and I have said the last, what, 4, 5, 6 damn different episodes we've talked about this. Give us a teaser. Give us video. I don't care about stills. I don't.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Into Arrow season 3, they're going to add Katana. It's a Sin City star, which I'm not familiar with it. I've not watched it, so I don't know anything about it. But I'm down for them adding more heroes.
Absolutely.
Especially when you've got, the Black Canary kind of off in the wind now, and you have all these various other characters that are kind of in the fight throughout it, and adding on to Arrow's team, so to speak.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it'll be kind of neat seeing that, considering, and I think they're on a big kick with having Katana return, only because, like, Beware the Batman, they had Katana as Batman's only sidekick.
Yeah.
And then now in Arrow, they're going to have the same thing.
Right.
So, I mean, it's I don't have a problem with it. I mean, honestly, I think it's better suited here than with Batman, but it was also kind of nice seeing Batman use her instead, because then you don't have Robin.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with this character and how they plan to implement her into the show.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Netflix to add season two. I watched the end of season one. I watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes of season two. Now I will never say that Arrow is a bad show. It isn't. It's much better than most superhero shows on television nowadays. Um, what little ones there are. Uh, but I just kind of I don't know what it was when like after the third or fourth episode. It wasn't that I lost interest in the show. I just lost interest in really keeping up with the show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's going to be better for me to get more enjoyment out of it if I can watch it all at once versus having to wait. Because I'm not one of these people, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing at all, but I'm not one of these people that torrent stuff online a lot. I'm not one of these people that torrents whole television seasons, and that's fine if that's what you like to do. I prefer to just wait until it hits Netflix. And I mean, hell, if I'm paying for Netflix, I might as well have stuff on there that I actually want to watch. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that there isn't anything on Netflix that I don't like watching. There is a lot of content on there. There's just some shows I wish they'd bring back or get the contracts back to, so it would make a few podcast recordings a lot easier. Anyway, but yeah, for me, I have to go back to Arrow, and I bet what they're probably gonna do is they're probably gonna wait and have the contract redone to have season two added right before season three starts. So I'll probably end up spending a whole weekend watching season two at whatever point it comes up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing more of it, but
Yeah,
and
I mean,
I'm one of the ones that happens to if I don't catch it, because usually I try and watch it, but that depends on if there's a show that Mary wants to watch, and if not, then I have to torrent it because it's the only way I can watch it.
right.
And not that I wouldn't watch it on demand, but I'm not going to sit through 5 of the same commercial every commercial break,
Yeah.
and not being able to fast forward through it kills me too.
I don't understand. Like, so, okay, I know this is kind of going against the show thing, but here's my personal question of the week to the fans. Someone please explain to me why Comcast, why Time Warner Cable, any of these cable provider services that allow on demand do not allow you to fast forward. You can rewind, but you can't fast. I don't understand that. Somebody explain that to me. Makes no dang sense.
Yeah, well, it's so they can force you to sit through it.
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, but like if there's any other reason, listeners, let me know. If there's any other reason other than they force you to sit through it, let me know. um,
Oh wow, there's a fake Batman vs Superman script floating around,
oh God, here we go.
written by Kevin Smith.
Then it's not necessarily fake.
Well, yeah, they're saying that it's yeah. It
Oh.
another thing, it's kind of strange. And side note, um, seems like all these movie sites tend to just pull random stuff out of their ass. Like Movie Pilot seems to be pretty, because I mean it's all written by just people, random
Yeah.
people that's aggregated there. It seems like a lot of the stuff that comes through there's total bull or attention grab, and that's about it. I don't know. I just saw that while you were talking, and I'm just surprised.
Can't we just let it go?
Can't we leave this subject alone?
Um, what's next? Because I was gonna. Well, that's why I said, can't we just let it go? Because I was gonna fast forward all the way down to the end and talk about the Once Upon a Time casting.
We can talk about that.
I have yet to watch this show. It's on Netflix. I know the first season's on Netflix. I caught several episodes of season two. I think it was right around the time where Mulan came in and Hook was, or Peter Pan or some. I forget what it was. I don't dislike the show because I've never really watched it from day one. I know you've watched it from day one, but I don't know how I feel about them bringing in characters from Frozen.
It's well, the thing about it is they're going to take that cartoony grab version. They're going to make something bad go down between them, and then they'll
Mm-hmm.
be gone as soon as the season's up or the mid-season. Because usually what they
Yeah.
do is they switch villains every half season.
Ah.
It's usually they kind of switch the dynamic a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because like last season they had the Peter Pan for the first half, and then the second half they had the Wicked Witch of the West.
Ah.
And
I mean, I love the concept of the show. I just
they
haven't been
take a
able to.
really interesting way of taking your familiar um, fairy tales and kind of mixing them together, or
Mhm.
creating new origins from them, but making them more intertwined. So like um, you have the Rumpelstiltskin story, but he's also the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Mm.
Rumpelstiltskin is, and then so I mean it's you have people that have dual purpose in the fairy tale timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting to um, kind of have it go back and forth, and then you get to go back to when they were in their original castle and olden days timeline
Mm.
um, to the modern day. They're stuck in this town type thing. So it's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, it's an interesting concept, but since I didn't get caught in on it on the first season, it's just not a show that's been high on my radar to catch. That's the only reason why I really have no opinion of it either way. And I know Disney and ABC are going to milk Frozen as much as they possibly can, but personally, I wish that thing would just fade away without a trace. I know it's not. I'm not being unrealistic here, but no. I'm trying to think of what I don't like more, Frozen or Transformers 4. I,
I would say Transformers 4. Uh,
I don't know. I can't make that decision right now.
I would rather watch the one, but again, I can't comment on it. Um, yeah, we'll obviously talk about Transformers 4 in full detail on all things Transformers, because we're
Yep.
covering the Michael Bay universe,
Mhm.
and um, the funny thing is about it, we actually had to cut it off before Transformers 4 because there was so much crap we brought up for Transformers 1 through 3.
Yes.
Um, I think the Nostalgia Critic kind of covered it pretty well when he brought up Transformers 4. He may have
Yes.
repeated himself at points, but he was pretty much spot on in his opinion. Dan, our own resident movie reviewer, panned it.
Hmm.
Um, I've kind of let known my panning of it. I've talked to Randall, uh, who does a lot of the Transformers 3D um, videos,
Right.
along with Doctor Smooth. He uh, he and I have been going back and forth in Facebook messages talking about how inappropriate the Bayverse films are, and that we're never going to let our kids watch it.
Yeah.
And the fact that 4 is so batshit terrible, or all 4 of them are missing the key elements that makes a Transformers movie, which is the Transformers.
Hmm.
Um, Similar to the 1986 movie, which is why everybody's now saying 1986 movie, why it's the best Transformers movie ever. Well, Transformers fans knew this. It's the other people that don't.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's again, I'm not going to get into detail of it. I wanted to bring that up.
Well, what is
Proto Man even
absolutely
said, he says it's 20-minute Transformers movie. The other 2 hours and 30 minutes is a painful, unrelated human shit.
yeah. Um, I'm I know you're probably gonna disagree with this, but ladies and gentlemen, right now, as of this recording, ATTF episode 42, where the Bayverse episode will appear, has halfway been recorded. We have an hour and 10 minutes for the first 3 films. I guarantee you, with how I know Proto Man feels about the 4th film, I guarantee you that podcast, in total, once I edit it, is probably going to be close to 3 hours long, because I guarantee you he could go on for 2 hours talking about all the things he doesn't like about that movie. What I will say is that the greatest thing about half these people not liking it or writing writing reviews, like our own movie revolt Dan, he found it excruciating, and he rated it 1 star on geekcastradio.com. We have 9 votes because our new voting system, as far as the content of the review, we have 9 votes, and on our website, Transformers 4, Revenge of the Fallen. Wow. Transformers 4, Age of Extinction, for a user rating, has a 2.06 rating based on 9 votes.
Wow, I'm surprised it even got a 2. I would not give it a 2, but that's just me. Well, maybe I would give it a 2. It wasn't that terrible, but it was pretty bad. The thing I liked about it, though, was Megatron.
You mean Galvatron?
Whatever, he's Megatron.
Galvatron.
The humans named him that. They aren't Unicron. So I preferred I preferred the method that Megatron is controlling them all using his old head, which is somehow fully repaired, instead of cut in half.
Well, Megatron, he's ahead of his time. You know that,
Yeah,
right?
he's ahead of his time, all right, and he's dismemberment. But they essentially pulled a G2 comic with G.I. Joe crossover where Megatron was badly damaged, and in exchange for Cybertronian technology, he taught them how to build him a new body, and which he took over their computer systems and left with his new body, which is very reminiscent of this.
Yeah.
So that's about the only thing that was worth warranting in this entire shit film. So I think we'll move into some kind of geeky, cool tech stuff that's completely different from this kind of pop culture.
Yes.
Before we go to a commercial break. Did you see that article with how much data is generated on pretty much every social network every minute? I thought that was kind of an interesting infographic that they showed with generated information. It says like YouTube users upload 72 hours of new video every minute of the day.
Wow.
Email users send 204 million messages every minute of the day. Google receives over 4 million search queries. Facebook users share 2.4 million pieces of content. Twitter users tweet 277,000 times. Amazon makes $83,000 in online sales. Apple users download 48,000 apps. Skype users connect for 23,000 hours. It's kind of amazing how much data is just done every minute. It's kind of mind-boggling to even think about, because it's. I mean, granted, we're adding to that infographic, but
what's more mind-boggling is the Amazon one. If they're making $83,000 a minute, I mean,
making some dough.
I mean that's a lot of minutes, and that's a lot of money.
Well, because I mean, if you kind of break it down, and they make 4.9 million every hour.
Oh my god!
And then if you
that's crazy.
they make wow. They make 119 million every day.
Everyone, I was going to say in one day. So if you take $119 million and multiply that times 365 days for 1 year.
It's too big of a number. I don't want to.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
That's sick.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh,
No, this graphic is what super interesting.
yep.
You know.
And then the final one is Microsoft may prioritize the desktop in Windows 9.
About flipping time.
Well, and I think what it is this is Microsoft may disable by default the Metro defined start menu or start screen on desktop based computers in Windows 9. And they give some goofy nickname to every version of Windows whenever they go through, but basically what it would do is it would put it would auto detect on desktops and laptops and put the Windows desktop with the start menu back in there. It would automatically boot to those, but you'd have the option of going to the Metro style.
Right.
But the tablets and the phones won't have a desktop environment at all and will automatically be the Metro.
Well, see,
which
here's
makes
the thing.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense that Windows 8 is all, I forget what the advertising crap was when that first came out, but it was something like, the Windows to your life or the Windows that it makes sense on phones and tablets. It does not make sense on desktop computers and laptops. It's just too weird for me.
I have a Windows 8 PC and I hate Metro. I installed a bootleg start menu so that I could have it back.
Yeah.
And it automatically boots to the desktop because of that.
Yeah. I think I said this on a previous episode, and I think you said this as well. I will never upgrade from Windows 7 unless they absolutely force me to.
Well, I don't have a reason to. I'm not spending $130 to upgrade Windows. I waited. I mean, shoot, I had a legit copy of Windows XP from 2001. So every time I reinstalled, I had to put all 3 service packs in. So that kind of sucked, but I had a legit copy and I had no reason to upgrade, so I didn't. Whereas now, like a year ago, I upgraded to Windows 7 and I haven't looked back because I don't have to spend as long updating or installing my PC. It takes like 2 hours and I'm done, whereas it took 14 before.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, and honestly, if I'm going to upgrade, I'm going to end up getting a new machine. That's the only way I will upgrade. As long as Microsoft keeps supporting Windows 7, and I know you said at one point they'll stop after 10 years or something.
They'll stop probably sooner than that. It just, Windows XP was kind of a fluke. And they made so many shitty copies of Windows between there and 7 that people were like, I'm not moving.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I won't move until I have something similar to like what this is, because I was so stuck on XP myself. I loved XP at the time, and then I got a new computer with Windows 7 on it at the time, and it was like,
I mean, shoot, you had Windows 7 before I did.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
I bought that tower in 2010.
Yep, I didn't upgrade until 2012 or late 2013. Yeah. No, I did it in mid 2013.
Yeah, but I mean, I was so used to using XP, and I liked XP for what it was. It took me about a month to really get used to Windows 7. There's a lot more functionality in it for me than what was on XP at the time that I had, and it was just more user friendly for me. First of all, when I had XP, I think I mentioned this a long ass time ago. I wanted something that used the Apple dock, and I found this. I think I found this website called Rocket Dock, and it's basically a Windows version of the Apple dock, and you can put in whatever programs you want to put in there. Well, Windows 7, they have a built-in dock right there. So instead of all these icons, instead of all these windows that you have open on the taskbar, it's all these icons. So like with Google Chrome, instead of having, like, I have currently, I think, 7 tabs open in Google Chrome. So it just shows that I have Google Chrome open instead of showing it that I have 7 tabs open in Google Chrome. So it's a hell of a lot easier for me. And when I saw Windows 8, I was like, no. No. No, thank you. So like I said, I won't upgrade unless I absolutely have to. Unless they force me to eventually.
My bet is you'll be able to skip 8.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I've skipped 8 to this point. But no, I mean, as long as Microsoft gives us the option in Windows 9 to have the Metro or to have the standard, the classic standard of a desktop, as long as I'm given an option, I'm not going to sit here and pan the system or the new operating system.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So
should we go ahead? Oh, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say we should go ahead and take a commercial break and come back with the listener feedback and a short topic.
Alrighty then.
So, see you right after this.
I'm Colin Baker.
My name's Fraser Hines.
Hi, I'm Daphne Ashbrook.
This is Andrew Cartmel.
Hi, this is Colin Spall.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisher-Becker.
This is Ian McNeice.
Hi, this is Travis Ritchie.
You listen to this Mark 42.
Listen to Mark 42's Universe.
If you're into Doctor Who, listen to Mark 42's Universe. We always have the latest Doctor Who news, reviews, and interviews. We are available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Geekcast Radio Network, and our home base, Mark42.net.
Mark Who 42, the meaning of life.
It's action. It's drama. It's comedy. It's DeCian, the superhero webcomic. DeCian has superhero antics and sexy girls. Catch updates weekly at DeCian.com and NoSuperPants.com.
And we're back with Altered Geek Unlimited. And before I get to the listener feedback, somebody I know on Facebook is promoting, and I'll include this in the show notes, a online TV series that he's making with Indiegogo. Which is similar to whatever that other one was. I can't remember the name for it right now.
You mean the comic one?
No,
the convention one.
No, this is the guy I built that magazine site for.
Oh, okay.
He's like a local film producer, movie guy. His name is Bradley O'Lyon, but he's got a online TV sitcom. It's supposed to be kind of a comedy / kind of strange show. It's going to be an online TV sitcom called Roommates. They're trying to build a actual set, which is because they have no money, which is why they're asking for money. I don't know. It looks a little interesting, and they're talking about bringing in people that people may know at some point. So go over there and support that. I'll drop all the information in the show notes.
Awesome.
So, getting into listener feedback, last week we asked, what is a thing you'd like to see come true that was invented within a geeky show? And before we get into that, is there anything specifically you want to mention?
Well, we've seen people create lightsabers that are real.
Communicators, tricorders.
Yeah, we've seen replicas of Knight Rider and Kit and all that stuff. And there's a huge community of KR customs, and there's Kit GPSs. There's all kinds of stuff for that. I really can't. I'm more practical, honestly, than that. As much as I'd love to see Hot Rod and RC jump out of Transformers the movie, I know that's never going to happen. I don't know. It's just one of those things where I latch, like, as much as well, first of all, I don't drive, but as much as I know I would never even be able to find one, I would love to see in person one of the 1971 Cudas that was used in Nash Bridges, because that's just a really cool car, and I used to love that TV show. But really, I can't think of any. Okay, one, and I think they're coming next year. I hope they are. Nike is going to hopefully do the Power Laces. That's the one thing that I can think of that I would absolutely want to see come true.
As neat as it is, I don't know if I'd actually want to own a pair. Because I could just see that being like one of those, like, because in cars they have, in like Cadillacs. I only know of this because we had a guy, because just to preface this before I go off on a weird tangent, I got recently promoted to a DRAC manager, which is dealer rent-a-car.
Mm-hmm.
And, which I had to Google because I didn't know what the hell DRAC meant. They just kept calling it DRAC, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. But anyways, there was a guy I had to go to a local GM plant, and he's got a Cadillac, and it's this decked out Cadillac, to the point that you press a button and shades come up from the windowsills of the back window, the side windows.
Oh, jeez.
When you press a button for that, it's got self-tightening seatbelt, which is very much like the Power Laces. But he said that it started going haywire, and he says it got tough enough. He says that it was crushing his chest, so he had to take it off. He says if that were a woman, he's like, and she were pregnant, it would pop that baby right out.
He did not really say that, did he?
Yep. And so I was like, oh, so that's a feature we don't need that's included in cars. It's like, you don't need the hospital. We've got the car to do that for you. But yeah, so I mean, it's like, it's another one of those things. It's unnecessary, but I'm not saying it isn't cool.
Yeah.
But I would like to see something that would actually help. I don't know, like maybe a Jetsons car where it folds up into a briefcase, or transporters, or shuttlecrafts, so we don't actually need cars that ride on the road where you have to replace tires and all that stuff. Not saying stuff wouldn't go wrong with them,
right?
But I'd rather see that, because then we wouldn't need roads. We could just have grass and it just
roads where we're going. We don't need
exactly.
roads.
Give me the Doc Brown car.
Well, see, here's the thing. You mentioned teleporters
or the holodeck. The holodeck. I know they're getting close, but that would be badass.
Holodeck,
I could be Batman.
Like, God. Well, here's the thing. You mentioned teleporters, and I'm thinking, if the entire world had teleporters, like, no matter, oh God,
they cross the streams.
No.
It's not your pants.
I was stop it. I was gonna say, no matter the cost of these things, of whatever it would cost to have a teleporter in your house, can you imagine the travel? Like, seriously, you set the thing. Let's say, for example, wait a minute. Let's say, for example, I don't know if this is true or not, and if it's not, then I'm just making shit up. Let's say Mary's family, part of her family, lives in California. Okay, for example, she and Ian can each get, set, like, you can set your teleporter to go to whatever the, address is or whatever. And as long as they had a teleporter on that end, it would basically cancel all need for the airline industry or for baggage claim checks or for security checks.
Or automotive vehicles or buses.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like
everything.
Having every person on the planet having a teleporter, that would be a great travel gimmick. That would be awesome. Best gimmick ever.
The bad thing would be when people drunk teleport. There would be regulations against it. They would have breathalyzers on it that would take your blood.
Sounds like something Dodd would say.
Because that's kind of what made me kind of remember that. That would actually be a funny conversation to have with him. I just drunk teleported, and my ass is on the other side of this wall. You'd find people dismembered. I don't know where my damn arm went, but... or they'd teleport in between walls, so it would kill them on teleportation. You'd just be at home, and all of a sudden, a lifeless, bloody corpse would just be hanging from your wall, and
God.
It'd be horrible. But it yeah.
When you say someone to be trapped in a wall, all I can think of is
it's like when you have deer heads sticking out, and they're a hunter. Yeah. Except it's just like you see a derp face with the same kind of face people do when they're doing selfies and crap. So you see all which those are mostly drunk people doing those. So, because I'm sorry, anybody that calls a picture of themselves selfies, that's asinine. I hate that. That is so stupid.
Well, you mentioned someone being stuck in a wall. All I can think of is two things. Elastigirl in The Incredibles. She wasn't necessarily stuck in a wall, but she was stuck in a couple of doors. And Smokescreen from Transformers Prime, when there was one point where the weapon that allowed him to walk through walls was taken away from him, and he ended up being stuck in the wall. I don't know. Teleporters, to me, yes, I know there's a lot of bad things that could probably happen with them, but I was trying to really bring up only the good points of having a damn teleporter.
I don't know. It was like an afterthought.
Yeah.
I want a fusion cannon. I want to send people to another dimension.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I want
I'd give them a one straight ticket straight to hell.
Oh, hell. All we all need is a bunch of Phantom Zone projectors walking around this place. Great. No, but think about it, though. If, say, for example, I know this would never happen, but say, for example, me, you, Michael Wilson, say we all, got together on Facebook in a Facebook message, and we wanted to record an episode of whatever Transformers thing we were doing at the time. And we'd be like, if there was teleporters, we'd be like, okay, whose house are we recording at now? And whichever of the three that isn't the person's house could teleport to that person's house, and we could all do the podcasting live in person together. So I'm trying to think of good purposes for the teleporters, not necessarily all the bad crap you can do with it, because the bad crap you could do with a teleporter, I mean... I guarantee you a lot of guys would, teleport into the girls' locker room. It's just one of those things. Oh, God.
It's always been a dream of mine to teleport. No, I'm just playing.
Fun with teleporters.
Fun with transportation.
Yes. Oh, good Lord.
That'd be horrible. But anyways, switching gears before we go too far down the rabbit hole. So, Freddie Savage says, sorry, but the TARDIS is a trillion times better than the DeLorean. I love Back to the Future and all, but the TARDIS does a lot more than the DeLorean ever could. It could make a DeLorean if it really wanted. I get you guys who aren't fans, but you gotta respect the TARDIS. LOL.
I don't know enough about the TARDIS. I know what it is, and I know kind of what it does. But I'm sorry. A blue police box versus a silver GMC DeLorean.
Well, this is the thing. I guess I'm confused about it. I mean, and it's my own fault. I haven't really paid too much attention to Doctor Who too much. But it's one of those kind of, I'm gonna dub it Steveisms, because it's something that I cannot get past. And I just can't get into it. I know it's extreme sci-fi, but I have a hard time with it. But what is the correlation between the I guess I don't know what the TARDIS and the sonic screwdriver are, because the screwdriver looks like Dr. McCoy's pen that he gives people shots with, and the telephone booth reminds me of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So I guess I'm trying to figure out what the difference is.
I believe the sonic screwdriver is the weapon that he uses. Again, I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, do not crucify me in the comments.
Yes, crucify him in the comics.
Shut up. I'm actually...
You're going to Google that shit.
Of course. The sonic screwdriver is a fictional tool in the British science fiction television program Doctor Who and its spin-offs. It is a multifunctional tool used by the Doctor. Its most common function is that of a lockpick.
Oh. So it's a universal lockpick.
That's what it says its most common function is, but can be used to perform other operations such as performing medical scans, remotely controlling other devices, tracking alien life, and using red setting or dampeners. Can control the properties of atoms and molecules on a small scale. So, there you go. Like I said, it's his accessory piece. Whereas the TARDIS is his transportation.
Yeah, I can see that. Again, wasn't too familiar with it. I would have a request if the good doctor would be so inclined to remove a certain person from office, but that's just,
Moving on.
Yes.
Next comment.
I'm gonna catch hell for that. Connor Murphy says, I can think of many more things I would like to not come true that have happened in geeky shows. I feel like most geeky shows are based on many bad things happening and many people dying. I love Firefly, but I'd never want to live in that world. Buffy is fun, but please, let's not have demons roaming the earth. Maybe Knight Rider. Mr. Feeney, Boy Meets World Connection, as the voice of a car. I'd get behind that. I think most people would like Feeney to talk to him through their car.
Well, now that's the thing. I mentioned that earlier. There are Knight Rider, Knight Industries 2000 kit GPS.
Now, is it actually Feeney or is it a sound-alike?
You mean William Daniels?
Yes.
No, I think it is him. Let me do some research, but I think it is him.
It'd actually be cool to take all the Feeneyisms of him doing all of his lessons and put them into a giant soundboard.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Let's see. Navtones. It says official kit GPS voice from Navtones. It's a video on YouTube. It might be. I don't know.
He's like 89 years old, so hard to say. Jedi Disaster says, I'd love to see the Dragon Balls in real life. Dragons that grant wishes. Can't get much better than that. That would be good for things that, like, say, somebody miraculously just, forgive my informality here, but just drop dead. Because then you could bring them back. Or you could fix certain issues, like certain time travel elements, or...
good lord.
I know. All roads lead back to the low road, which...
Yeah.
We're already in that.
Yeah.
Andre Walters says, so Conan, Jimmy Fallon, and today's late night hosts aren't funny, but Rush Hour, Beverly Hills Cop 3, and Police Academy 3 are funny. Interesting. That's all I can say. I tried to watch the first episode of Girl Meets World and couldn't get through it. It's clearly meant for 12-year-olds, which is fine. The first season of Boy Meets World was the same way. I just can't watch a TV show meant for preteens without feeling creepy. Which, again, I guess I should read Kevin and Dan's, because it kind of goes with that.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin says, Mike is not known for his great taste in late-night hosts or stand-up comedians. And then he puts smiley face. He says, I'm not watching Girl Meets World either, but that's most likely because I didn't watch Boy Meets World that much either. However, I will say that there is no reason you should find watching any show or movie that is more geared towards another demographic is creepy. That's just not right. And then Dan says, oh yes, that's crazy. I mean, I don't get that at all. How can you expect honest opinions if we write someone off based upon a viewpoint? I have far more respect for someone who disagrees with me honestly than agrees with me dishonestly. I'll fight for my opinion and challenge yours, but I find that's the point of all of this.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. Andre had commented one other time to me, and we went back and forth further down in the thread from last week's show. I asked him, I said, so because I watch Sweet Life on Deck or because I watch Alf from 1986, does that also make me a creepy guy? Because now I'm 34 years old and there's, kids in Alf, or, that the kids on the Sweet Life on Deck aren't, at the time of that production of that show weren't my age. It's just one of those things where, here's the thing, folks. When Boy Meets World was on the air, it was a preteen show, but the way I see it, and even it came from the creator's mouth. I am most definitely having you embed this one in the post. I just saw an interview recently with Michael Jacobs on the AfterBuzz TV network. He says that both Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World are family shows. They're about the family unit. Yes, Girl Meets World is a little young now, but as he said, Boy Meets World was also a little young when it started. He did say, Michael Jacobs went on to say in this interview, that as the show progresses, it's going to grow up very fast.
And it did in Boy Meets World, too.
Right, exactly.
Like, the first year was very, grade school-y feeling, and then, even though it's middle school, and then it kind of, accelerates really fast.
Right, exactly. And see, here's the thing. I was 13 when Boy Meets World started. I was 20 when it ended. So, did I watch the show all the time after about 15 or 16 years old? No. But I caught it here and there. And, I don't see how watching the Disney Channel or watching ABC Family, makes me a creepy guy. Because, first of all, what if men my age, or hell, even guys your age, you're a perfect example. You have a wife and a kid. You're a parent. You're a father. Of course you're going to watch the Disney Channel because that's what your kid is watching.
Well, even before I had the Disney Channel, or even before Ian was born, we both watched the Disney Channel. But we watched it because it was more wholesome than a lot of other TV. Granted, we still watch shows like, Prison Break or, 24, Supernatural,
right?
Stuff like that. But when there's nothing else on, we always turn to Disney because we could actually
stomach what was on.
Well, it wasn't even stomach it. It was the fact that it wasn't necessarily crap. Because a lot of what's on TV now is crap.
Yeah.
And, because I'm not going to sit there and watch a reality show. Because, to me, Honey Boo Boo and all these other morons that are on TV that are getting all this publicity for being jackasses, to me, there's no reason that they should even be featured on television. There's no reason. Because that's dumbing down our society. And, I would much rather watch a children's show and be able to shut my brain off and just enjoy it rather than sit there and go, wow, this is pretty freaking stupid, of reality TV, or, again, these morons that are constantly on TV going, with their almost documentary style reality bull crap that they usually do. So, we've watched we watched the Disney Channel from when
Day one.
well way back when it was like the Raven on there and a bunch of other we've watched pretty much every show since. I mean, granted, there's some that we find completely dumb here or there, like the new one, the I Didn't Do It or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that one's pretty. That one's pretty dumb. But like the dog with the blog, I find entertaining because it's from the dog's viewpoint. Yeah. So it's funny because talking dog. I mean, and then I've watched some of the other ones. Like I liked the Sweet Life, and then I liked the Wizards and the Jesse or some of the other ones that have been on there. So I mean, it's not like they're all bad or but it's also once you hit a certain age, certain things just kind of appeal to you again or more than they did when you were younger. So like, I mean, if you kind of argue that those preteen shows are creepy, you could almost argue that watching Transformers or of any degree or any of those kind of cartoons, you're being creepy because you're watching children's shows. I mean, it's almost of that same. I mean, I feel weird among other adults when I tell them that I watch cartoons, or I mean, because I'd rather watch cartoons than watch some of the they're like, oh, you see the reality show? No, I don't watch reality TV. I watch cartoons. Sorry.
No. Well, see, here's the thing with Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World. I was stoked to even hear that they were doing a sequel series. Like, and you know this, I've told you this. I would much rather have sequel series done than reboots. And like we've already said, it's the same staff, it's the same creator. He knows his vision, and it's basically continuing Corey and Topanga's story from the end of the first series. It's going to be a vastly different series from Boy Meets World as far as there are some character similarities and stuff like that, but it's going to tackle different issues of today's audience, whereas Boy Meets World tackled the issues of the 90s to early 2000s audience.
Well, the thing is it will date it over time because it will fit with that timeline. Mm-hmm. However, I mean, because I mean, you look at some of the technology in the old show compared to now and so on. But I mean, yeah, they're going to cover some of the same ground as Boy Meets World and just kind of modernize it and bring it to today's world. But they're also going to touch on because I know that they're bringing Sean back and he's going to kind of relate to the whole Maya situation because it's similar to him growing up. And then there's going to be the grandparents are going to be in it, and then the younger brother from the last 3 episodes of Boy Meets World, and then they don't have Eric or the sister. They don't have them confirmed yet.
Right.
If they do show up, it'll be season 2. But
Michael Jacobs said in that interview that I mentioned that. Right now, there are no plans for Will to come back, but there's reasons for that. And the hosts then asked him, so who's going to do the Feeney call? He said, no one, except for Will Friedle, will ever do the Feeney call. He did say in the interview that Ryder Strong, who plays Sean Hunter, actually, I think it's the end of the first season or the beginning of the second season, whenever that starts, he's actually going to be a full-time director on the show.
Oh, nice. Which means he'll probably show up from time to time in the series, but he'll...
From time to time, yeah. But Michael Jacobs was basically saying in this interview that, as I said a moment ago, that the show is centered around a family. It may seem like a preteen show, but I didn't tune into Boy Meets... or Girl Meets World to see Rowan Blanchard and...
no, everybody tuned in that knew it from before, tuned in because of Corey and Topanga.
Right, exactly. I mean, sure, I'm being introduced to these new characters, which are Corey and Topanga's children, which is fine. Is Andre going to sit here and tell me that anyone who watched the 4 years of Good Luck Charlie, that everyone's creepy because every guy on the planet is creepy because we watched that? That was a family show that Disney Channel did.
No, I mean, I can see if you're thinking like bad thoughts about certain things while you're watching the stuff,
yeah.
or if you're just kind of a creeper anyway. But I mean, if you're just watching it because you enjoy the comedy of it, the family, because I mean, let's face it, there's not a lot of family television anymore. Whereas in the 80s and 90s, we had a ton of it.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, you had the Cosbys, you had Home Improvement, you had Roseanne. I mean, you had all these other shows. I mean, that were kind of. You had Step by Step, Full House, Family Matters.
Right.
I mean, it was pretty common to have a family television show, and then came the 2000s with the reality, and all that went out the window. So, I mean, I think it's kind of almost a revival and return to family television. I mean, you had Last Man Standing come back, or come into the fold, which is, actually the first new family television show that's been on in the last decade.
Yeah.
And then you're starting to, Disney reviving Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World, into it. That's, I mean, that's another one that's come into the fold. So, I mean, Good Luck Charlie and some of those other ones are kind of quasi-family, but this one's more so because there's already that connection.
Yeah. I mean, Good Luck Charlie was a family show. It was based on it was based on a family of what, 4? Well, it ended up being based on a family of 6.
Well, 7.
So
they had 4 kids, and then they had 5 kids.
They had 5 kids.
Yeah.
4. Yeah. Families. Okay, so yeah.
I pay attention.
But with math. What is it?
What is this thing you call math?
1, 7,
1, 2, 3,
10.
19 kids and counting.
Oh God! Don't even. Just don't.
It's
that's
reality.
reality. Don't even. Okay. Here's the thing with Good Luck Charlie. That show had personalities anyone can relate to. Whether it's the son, PJ, whether it's the daughter, Teddy, and what she was going through, whether it's the father, Bob Duncan. And the funny thing is, and I think I said this last week when you were talking about King of the Nerds. There are 2 actors that I more recognize from Disney Channel than anything else, which is Robert Carradine. He was the father in Lizzie McGuire, and Eric Allen Kramer, who is Bob Duncan on Good Luck Charlie. What I would find out later after looking up Eric Allen Kramer's info is that he is also Little John from Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Really?
Yup.
I never caught that.
I never caught that
movie
either. I know. I never caught that, and I love that movie too.
That's one of my favorite comedy films.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh.
Absolutely.
And Captain Picard is King Arthur.
Yes, he is. It's just one of those things where, for me personally, like I said earlier, I came back to see what happened to the characters I knew and enjoyed back when Boy Meets World was on. And now I'm on this new adventure with their kids and whatever they're going to introduce. So it's not just nostalgia for me. It's a continuation of what the nostalgia was for the old series because they're telling new stories. So, I guess, what it boils down to is to each his own. If Andre doesn't want to watch it, that's more than fine. He does,
I mean, if it's something that bothers you or you don't click with it, then obviously you're not going to watch it. But I mean, if it's something that, there's a certain reason it resonates with you and whatnot, then you're of course going to watch it. So, but I mean, kind of jumping into the other subject about late night TV hosts, because I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with that either. Everybody has their own taste. I personally like I said, Conan's kind of hit or miss for me, but I would much rather watch him than Letterman. I like Stephen Colbert, so I'm actually excited to see him come to television. Or late night cable, or whatever.
He's taking over Dave's spot.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with it. And then I really like Jimmy Fallon, but again, I've followed Jimmy Fallon since the days of SNL. So I mean, he was doing the Celebrity Jeopardy with Will Ferrell and the other guys, and then he would do Adam Sandler impressions on the show, do songs, weekend update, random skits, and just like Adam Sandler would kind of lose his cool while he was doing them. So I mean, it's one of those things. You can just tell that guy likes to have fun and goof off. So I mean, I enjoy his show because he seems more genuine and down to earth with hanging with the stars than anybody else.
Yeah, when I said on the comments last week that I think late night has gone down the hill.
King of the Hill.
Funny, has gone downhill now. I just look at all these late night hosts and I just don't, any of them, even Dave. I haven't enjoyed David Letterman since probably 1996, 1995, somewhere around there. Honestly, seriously, I haven't enjoyed him in almost 10 or 11 years now. I tune into some of these shows to see, like, when The Blacklist had premiered on NBC, they had James Spader on Fallon. He was one of the first guests on Fallon when Fallon took over. Jimmy sat there and talked to him. They mentioned The Blacklist twice the entire interview. I thought the whole point of the late night interview stuff, when guests come on there to talk about what they're doing, is they actually talk about what they're doing. I have no problem with Jimmy having his own style and it not being the Johnny Carson or the Jay Leno style, but at least talk to the guest about what they're doing. I mean, that's really my problem with the episodes that I saw of Jimmy. Seth Meyers on late night is just unwatchable. Seth Meyers needs to stick to George Bush impressions or whatever the hell. Craig Ferguson is funny at times. I like him. But again, I just don't watch late night TV that much anymore. I miss Johnny. I when it comes to Conan, I've said this on the forum, on the comments. He's an amazing writer. I just don't like his on camera personality persona kind of thing. He constantly does the crappy Donald Trump hair flip with his hair, like. He's too obsessed with, how's my hair look? And, jumps right into the camera. And so all you see is his, split ends or whatever else. I don't like that style of comedy. I have nothing against the guy. I mean, he wrote some damn good, funny Simpson episodes. I just don't think with the way he executes his jokes, it's not my comedy style at all.
Yeah.
So... what else we got?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it too, because my head's about to fall on my keyboard.
Hey. So I guess little kind of question.
Yes.
For next week is what kind of, well, I mean, and this is kind of jumping into a little bit of gaming territory, but what kind of games do you kind of like to play? I mean, or have wanted to kind of try out. I only say this because games, it seems nowadays, don't come with demos.
Yeah, the demo days have been demolished.
Well, I mean, and it's kind of unfortunate because I would at least like to play, because I just played the Battlefield 4 beta last week.
Right.
And it was all right. I didn't care for it, but it was all right. And then my dad and my brothers played Battlefield 4, like regular Battlefield 4 with all the expansions and everything else. Well, they want me to play it something terrible. One, I don't necessarily have the time that they do. And two, I don't want to spend the $80.
Yeah.
Because it's $85 to get the game and the expansions. And for one, even if they were going to pay for it for me, I want to know that I'm going to actually enjoy the game. So I'd like to play it, but I don't want to have to buy it to play it, to try it.
Think,
I mean, it's one of those scenarios. And I say I made torrent TV shows, which again, I only do if I can't find them. or I miss them or whatever. But I really don't. I discourage downloading torrents of games because I've only done it once, and granted, it was crap the time that I did it. Nothing worked right, and it's a waste of time. Plus, if you're gonna buy it or play the game, you might as well just buy it so you can do everything with it. But I just, it's one of those things. I want to try it, but I don't want to have to resort to torrenting.
Right. I think for me, I think that honestly, you ask what happened to demos. I honestly think demos got demolished by beta programs. I think getting into a beta for whatever game it is,
but not everybody can get in them. That's the hard part.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They've done away with and I think the other thing is, and I could be wrong about this, Michael Powers, you can correct me in the comments if you'd like. We used to have PlayStation Magazine, Electronic Gaming Month. We used to have all these magazines that you could do subscriptions to, and the magazine would come with a demo disc for whatever game system that, obviously PlayStation Monthly is going to have a PlayStation demo disc. I think that because the current generation of gaming is kind of moving away from that a little bit, that's where it's kind of gone. I don't know. I'm just a PC gamer who has to wait 1.5 years to play Grand Theft Auto 5.
I'm a PC gamer. Again.
Again.
Well, I say that because I'm not buying the new consoles just so I can play Batman Arkham Knight.
I did I do want to give a quick shout out. I don't know how many years he's been doing it, but Optibotimus has been on YouTube for as long as I've known him. I think 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. And he just reached his 100,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. So congratulations to Paul Reinhardt for that. But he did his 100,000 subscriber contest, and all you have to do is email him. And if you'd like to, you can like Sideshow Collectibles and Big Bad Toy Store on Facebook, but just shoot him an email message, and that's how you enter the contest. He is giving away 2 copies of Transformers: Rise of the Darkspark and 2 PS4s.
What?
He's giving away a PS4 and a copy of Rise of the Darkspark, and a PS4 and a copy of Rise of the Darkspark as the top tier 2 prizes.
Don't tell me that. I'll enter.
You have to be there's 3 rules. It's open until July 31st. You have to be already subscribed to his channel. So if you're subscribed pre the 100,000 subscriber, you're fine.
I was.
The 100,001, 2, 3, 4, you're not. So you subscribe to his channel, you email him. I think it's optibotimuscontest@gmail.com. I'd have to look at the video description. And you just shoot him a note, and you're entered. I asked him, what are my chances? He said, did you email me? I'm like, yeah. He said, your chances at this point, as of right now, because it was like the day the contest went live, my chances were like 1 in 700 and something thousand. So, yeah. But no, I mean, it's just one of those things where the only way I would get, I don't even have a current or next or past generation system. I have my PC, and that's what I play games on. I've been having fun playing Grand Theft Auto 4 for 6 years now, so, but I do know that Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming to the PC later this year, so that'll be cool. I think we can wrap this up.
Yep, I think that about wraps it up, and I hope that everyone has a fun and safe 4th of July, since that's when this episode comes out.
Yep.
So, thank you as always for joining us here on Altered Geek Unlimited. You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. You can email us your feedback at feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can comment on this episode post on the website, geekcastradio.com. You can visit the Facebook fan page by searching Geekcast Radio Network. You can find us on the Twitters at GeekCastRadio, #AlteredGeek. My Twitter handle is at SCP21, and yours is, sir?
TFG and Mike.
So, as always, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. We'll see you next week.
I have tickets to the show. Anybody wants them? Message me.
I'll take them.
I said to message me, not post it in the comments. I disregard your request.
Come on, man.
No, follow private message procedures. You went rogue, now look at us. Having it out in the comment section.
Dude, you've turned into a monster.
You made me this way.